to the dentist this morning, so it's not the ideal appointment that I'm looking forward to. And I just thought I'd kind of... Oh, by the way, if you hear a voice, that is my sat-nav, my navigation system, and it's set to be a 90-year-old Hungarian grandmother. So she'll say things like, "Don't go too fast, it makes me nervous," and stuff like that. So just watch out for that. I like it because it's reassuring. It's like having your grandma sit with you while you're driving. Yeah, so I'm going to the dentist. And the problem with that is that I moved house a couple of months ago, and I've got something like I've got a monthly payment thing where I pay my existing dentist, and I just have something set up with a specific dentist. So I've still got my dentist from my old residence where I was living.
When you get to the end of the road, turn right, then turn left.
And I haven't changed it yet, so I've got a 40-minute drive now, which is a bit stupid, really. So yeah, it's something where you pay every month, but if you want to change it, you have to
turn right, then turn left.
pay a whole setup fee, and they have to check your teeth to make sure you're eligible for the plan, and you have to do the whole thing again. So it costs you like £200 or something, and I just thought, well, 40 minutes isn't that bad, but the problem is I've been going to the dentist quite a lot because my fillings have been falling out of my teeth. I've got loads of fillings. Yeah, I've not been blessed with cavity-free teeth, and I think a lot of it is diet. Well, my diet isn't that bad, but I think a lot of it is genes as well. Some people just eat whatever and never have a cavity, whereas I've got a gazillion cavities. Okay. So yeah, the other thing about this dentist is like, he does this check where he examines your teeth, and then you get a score out of 100. And I've been going to him for a couple of years, and every time it's like worse. So it's like a countdown to your teeth falling out, basically. It's not very encouraging. And I think today I'm going to say, can you not give me the number, because I don't, it doesn't help me, does it? There's nothing I can do. If my gums are receding because I'm getting old, it's not like I can change that, is it? So, so yeah. I wanted to do this kind of vlogging style video because I really enjoy watching vlogs myself. I really like a couple of vlogs on YouTube, and I actually watch them. And obviously, if I think about it, it's kind of like, well, why would anyone watch a vlog? Who cares, really? And that's what I'm thinking a little bit while I'm making this one. But then on the other hand, I watch people's vlogs all the time, and I find them fascinating. Like people just going shopping and doing their daily things and stuff. Like, especially when they're in different locations to you, or like if they're people that you would otherwise never meet, because it kind of gives you a glimpse into other people's lives, and it kind of gives you a glimpse into an experience that's totally foreign to you. So I like watching them, and for me personally, I always think my stuff isn't interesting, so I think it's a good exercise for me to actually just do this, to put it out there and to see if it is if people actually watch it or not, because I try and do different things for my channel. I try and vary it a little bit. I try to make different kinds of videos, and I like to change things up a bit. So, if you don't try it, you don't know if it works or not. So, if you hate vlogs, especially if you hate car vlogs, then I'm sorry, but I'm just trying something else out to see what the response is going to be, because I don't know. So, hope traffic's okay.
300 yards, turn right.
Yeah, my sat nav is saying I'm going to be there at 10:15, and the appointment is at 10:30. So fingers crossed. Hopefully it'll be okay.
Turn right.
Okay. To turn right. also get a kind of a tour of, this is kind of my area where I live, which is the Peak District. Thank you. It's the Peak District, and now I'm driving into my old area, which is kind of East Manchester. So I'm driving in a northerly kind of direction. And this area where I am now is much nicer, and it's much more leafy and countryside-ish than where I used to live. So you'll see the kind of scenery change as I go. Okay. Oh, the road is closed. Oh no.
Turn left.
They always do this. What am I going to do now? They could have done that at the top, so I didn't have to drive all the way down here. But no. So the timings are going to be a little bit different now anyway, because I have to drive somewhere else. Anyway, yeah, we'll find it. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, yesterday I had a pretty rough day. So in the recent video I did, I went down to Glastonbury, and I did a kind of a vlog, and I did a tour and things of the place. But the thing that I was doing there as well was I was going to Glastonbury to look at properties, to look at places to live, because I want to move, and I'd really like to move out. Oh, I'm just going to pause for a second because I'm getting quite stressed here. There's like a million trucks driving around. The sat-nav has to recalculate to tell me where I'm going. This girl isn't letting me in, and it's making me nervous. Thank you. Thanks. So let's see if it recalculates. I need a sat-nav, by the way, because I'm lost if I don't have one. I'm terrible with directions.
Now you have to.
See, I didn't listen to her, so now I have to turn around. And I have to ignore that until she replans it. She tells me to go somewhere. Oh, there we go. Okay, problem solved. 35 minutes, I've lost 3 minutes doing that. Okay, so yes. Whew, take a breath. Okay. So yes, I was looking at properties because I'd like to move house. And I looked at a couple of properties. I looked at, I think, 6 or 8 or something, and I did actually find 2 which I like. And the reason I want to move is I'm not particularly happy in this area. I've always loved Glastonbury. I always go down there. I mean, if you follow me or if you watch my videos, you know that every couple of months or so I've gone down there just to kind of unwind and relax. And I just thought, well, why not move, you know? Why not move down there then and kind of start a new life down there? It's 3.5 hours south of here. I'm in the north of England, and Glastonbury's in Somerset, which is in the kind of southwestern side of the country. The other reason I wanted to move is because I'm in a situation that I kind of want to leave, and I want something for myself. You know, I want my own place. I want a place which I can call my own. I just kind of feel, you know, I'm 33 years old. Finances have always been something that I've struggled a little bit with and worried about, but I've grown a lot in that area, and I'm really in a place now where I don't worry about money so much, and I just trust God, and I trust that things will be taken care of for me. And I'm a rising sign Taurus, and I'm a Virgo, and I'm a moon Capricorn, which are all earth signs. So kind of putting faith in a higher power or God or the universe, and not worrying about the physical earth details like all my signs are, is quite a big ask for me, and I find it quite a challenge. And I've really grown in that sense, and I'm really glad that I've been able to kind of put my faith in something greater than myself to help me in that area of my life. And when I did worry about finances all the time, I just created lack for myself, because when you worry about money, you kind of squeeze the life out of money. I mean, if money is an energy, and if you have a relationship with that energy, if you're constantly fretting about it and constantly like, oh, there's not enough, why can't I ever get anything, oh, will I have enough to pay this and this and this, then you create a sense of stress and real tension around your relationship with that object. And since I've let go, and since I've just said, you know, God, good orderly direction, the universe, take over and take charge for me, things have been much better for me. So I'm now in a position where I'm doing what I absolutely love to do. I love my job. I love being able to do the astrology, the tarot. I love it. It's my calling, and I can say that without any doubt. And I always kind of had doubts about my career in the past. I never felt right. You know, I did different jobs. I was a journalist, and then I worked in finance, and I was a teacher, and some of those aspects of jobs were okay, but I never really felt right about it, and I knew it wasn't right. So I found what I love to do, and I'm so thrilled and pleased. So that said, now I'm in a position where I want to move to Glastonbury. I was ready to pay the higher rent, and I was all good on that, and I'm still planning to do that. But I found these two places. One's a 1-bedroom, and that's very, very near in the center of the town, and that's a little bit cheaper than the other one, which is a 2-bedroom, but there's not much in it. So I decided to just kind of go for the 2-bedroom one, because there's a lot more space. It's a little bit more expensive than I would have liked, but you know, it's doable. So that's fine. So I went to the estate agent, I put my deposit down, I gave them all the details, and because I'm self-employed, so I work for myself, I don't have an employer, I do this full time, they need a reference from an employer. And for a self-employed person, that's going to be your accountant, or your accountant, the person who does your books and who can actually verify independently that you earn what you say you earn, and then the landlord knows that you're good for the rent, that you can pay the money every month. Okay, so I gave my details to these people, and they got in touch with me and said, we need your accountant's details, we need the information from them. Now, the tax system in the UK, I think you do it in April. I think it's the same as the States. But you don't have to pay till January and then the summer, and it's not something I'm particularly good at. I mean, I like to do my work. Numbers aren't really my... If it comes to numerology, I'm into numbers, but tax, not so much. Okay, so yeah, where was I? Yes, so they write to the accountant, and we've only done the tax return for 13-14. We haven't done it for this year yet, which is 14-15, until April 2015. Because it's literally just the end of April, and I've got till January to do it, so I hadn't done it. So they requested the whole tax return for this reference. So I had to do the whole tax return. It took me like 5 hours. I did that on Friday, and I sent it off to the accountant. The accountant did it, told me the income, and then sent off the reference, so that's fine. So I had to do the tax return early because I wasn't planning to do it at least until September, when I kind of had to, and then you know, because it's a big thing, and I was too busy last week, and I was going to put it off a little bit. Well, the reference gone off, but the accountant also sent me the total, and I asked, well, how much is the tax that I'm making this a really long story. It's not that complicated. I basically asked, how much tax am I going to have to pay? And I got the email back, and before I opened the email, because I am intuitive, I just thought, oh, this is going to be bad news. I can feel it on the other side. And I just kind of said, okay, dear God, please help me to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, because I knew something was coming. So I opened this email, and the tax bill is 10 times more than I paid last year. It's a huge amount of money. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. And it's just like, I was reading this email and I was just like, I was in shock. And it just kind of floored me because it was so much. I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting the tax, but the things that I wasn't expecting were these huge amounts of national insurance, which is like social security. Then there was a huge amount for student loans back in my days when I went back to university to train as a teacher. So I didn't pay very much back on that when I was in employment, but now I have to pay a huge amount. I don't know why that is. I'm going to have to query that. And then the main thing that's terrible is that you have to pay up front for the year in advance. So I have to pay for 2015-16. I have to pay a year ahead in January. So I've got this massive bill. So I'm just kind of thinking, oh my goodness, I wanted to move out. I still want to move out. I really need to do it. But now I'm going to be under such financial pressure. What am I going to do? And then my experience kind of kicked in, and my experience was like, the ego will make you worry about money, and the ego will prevent you from getting on with your life and doing what you're meant to do out of a sense of fear. And that's what the ego does. It wants to keep you small. It wants to keep you with this mild undercurrent of misery, because that's when it's got control of you and that's when it's happy. So I realized that. And also, don't you think it's odd that just when I've decided to move out, and just when I've made that decision and that big leap and that really empowering decision for myself to do something that I care about, that I get hit with this big obstacle? It could have just been that the reference people would have accepted the income, but they didn't. They wanted the whole tax return, and I wasn't even prepared for that. So the fact that this whole bill has hit me now is just like, it seems to me like the ego's way of trying to keep me stuck in where I am. So that's the one thing. The other thing is that my experience has told me, which I've said before, is that if I worry about money, I decrease my income. I decrease what I've got. I just go into fear and I choke the life out of it. So I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to trust that I will be able to pay this tax bill, that I will be able to pay my rent, and I'm going to be able to do that because I'm taken care of, and because I trust in the process, and I trust in the process of life, and I trust in my higher power, that my higher power wouldn't give me anything that I can't handle, and I trust that, and I have faith. And that's huge for me, because this could have been a major upset. It could have robbed me of my peace of mind. It could have really said, oh, what am I going to do? But I'm not even going in that headspace. And for me, that's real growth, and that's real progress. And that means I'm transcending all of my earth sign sort of tendencies to want security, to want to see the balance there, to want to know how much exactly is coming in and going out each month, because that's what Earth does. It likes stability. It likes to know what's going on. It likes to know what's happening at all times. So this is an opportunity for me to practice faith, to know that I'm going to be looked after, that I'm going to be taken care of, and I'm happy with that. I really am, and I feel good about it. And again, I listen to my intuition. And even though I don't know where the money is coming from just yet, I go with my gut, and the fact that I feel okay about it means that it's going to be okay. My usual first instinct about something is the way it's going to end up, and I've really over the years learned to trust that. And if I do have a kind of niggling feeling about something, then that means to me there's problems or challenges in that situation, and if I feel good and peaceful about it, then it is going to work out okay. So that's that. So I'm really I'm okay about that. And the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was yesterday. I was speaking to someone, and they asked me if I was single, and I said, yeah, I'm single. And there was a kind of an assumption that I was straight, that I was, and I didn't correct the person. I just kind of let it go, and I didn't feel very good about that. So And then someone, yes, sorry, and then someone else got in touch with me via YouTube, and this was so funny. They sent me a message saying, "Hi Greg, I really enjoy your videos, love watching your daily readings. By the way, are you gay?" I've wondered for a long time. I hope it's not kind of intrusive or whatever, but I was just wondering. And I thought that's so funny because when I read that question, I was like, oh, okay, you're asking me if I'm gay or not. But I really don't have the right to get outraged about stuff like that at all, because I remember a couple of years ago, quite a long time ago actually, I was on a date with this guy, and there you go, there's my answer, I am gay. I was on a date with this guy, and I was 10 minutes late, and he was really like miffed that I was 10 minutes late, and I was like, you know, it's 10 minutes, and there was traffic, you know, it happens, big deal. We went for a meal somewhere, and the conversation wasn't going very well. I didn't particularly warm to the guy, and as we were having this lunch, it became more and more obvious that this really wasn't going anywhere, and that no, we weren't really gelling or hitting it off or something. He was just really full of himself. Yeah, I remember he was really and that's something that I don't particularly warm to, when people think they're special, or when people think they're entitled to some sort of special treatment because they are, sorry, my nose is itchy, they're so wonderful and they're so, you know, whatever. It just doesn't work for me. We're all normal people, let's just treat each other normally, you know? So yeah, so because it wasn't going anywhere, I just thought, my ears just popped. It's so high up here. If you look around, I'm like in the middle of nowhere in the mountains, and my ears just popped. So I thought, I'm not gonna, this isn't going anywhere anyway, so I'm gonna ask this guy, so are you a top or a bottom? Which is a pretty rude question. Well, it's a pretty direct question, and if you're not familiar with gay lingo or anything, you know, without getting too graphic here, are you a top or a bottom? In a gay relationship, sometimes, I mean, it's not always the case, but some person prefers to be the one in charge, so to speak, and the other person prefers to be the one kind of less in charge. I think that's a very tame way of putting it, without getting too graphic. And I just asked him that, and he was outraged. How can you ask me this? That is such a terrible question. So anyway, I asked the question because I thought, well, we're not going to be greatest friends anyway, so why not have a bit of fun with it? So yeah, this person asked me on YouTube, so I don't have any right to really not respond. So I haven't responded to that message yet. If you're watching this video, the answer is yes, I am gay. I've been gay for a very long time. It's working out really well for me, and yeah, I think it's important to be clear, because I don't want people to have the wrong impression. It just, on the one hand, it's no one's business what you do in your personal life, what you do in your bedroom or whatever, but I think if you're a gay person, it's such a big part of your life experience. I think it's a unique situation where you have to where you don't have to do anything, but I feel more comfortable saying yes, I am gay, and this is a part of who I am, because it is a part of who I am, you know. It's shaped my experience. It's a big factor in terms of what my life is going to look like, so it's important for people to have the right kind of idea about who you are. So it's interesting actually, because I did a video on this the other day, but I didn't post it because it just seemed a bit preachy to me. But when I was in Florida, I went to I met this guy in a totally platonic sort of way at this basically I went to Key West, and I didn't have a place to stay for the night. I just went on a whim, really. I was in Miami. I was going to drive back to Clearwater, where my sister was, and I was on the way back to Clearwater, and I thought, you know, I'm down here already. Why not just go to Key West? And the hotel in Miami I booked before, so I was all, you know, I drove down, I had somewhere to put my bags and stuff. But then because I went to Key West, oh, my ears are popping again. We're like in Hobbit County here. It's like hills and mountains everywhere. There we go. So Key West was spontaneous, so I just drove down, and I didn't have a hotel, so I had to actually go to the hotels when I was down there and see if they had vacancies and have went all these places. Like Key West is expensive because it's like this little island, and because it was like last minute, it was super expensive. So I went to all these different places to try and find something I could afford, and I was about to give up. I don't know what I was going to do, but the last place I went to was this motel, and there was a guy behind the desk called Bob, and he was so funny. He was like he was this super funny gay guy, and we just started chatting, and we just got into this conversation. And that was one thing about America that I loved, that I just started chatting to people and like started having conversations. That never happens here. People aren't as open, and they're not as open here. They're much more reserved. They don't just get into conversations with strangers, whereas Americans love doing that, and I love doing that. It was just so fun. So anyway, he gave me a great discount, and he gave me like a tour of Key West and everything. How did I get onto this? What was I talking about? Oh dear, I've lost my thread now a little bit. Oh yes, so I was in Key West, and I met this guy Bob, right? And he took me out, he took me to all the clubs and stuff, and he knew me. I mean, he knew all the people at these clubs and things, so he introduced me to everybody. Like, I met loads of drag queens, and I met like everybody. It was so fun. And he also, we were chatting, and he recommended that I read this book called The Velvet Rage, and I did actually do that. I went and bought it at Barnes & Noble in America, which was an experience in itself, because I love that shop. It was so fun, and I had a macchiato frappuccino something. It was a wonderful experience. And I bought The Velvet Rage by Alan Downs, PhD, which is the author. And it was a really great book about what it's like to be gay and the experience of being a gay person. And I did make this video, but you know, it did seem a bit preachy, so I'll just give you the summary. The book kind of outlines the process of being gay as having 3 stages. First is shame, then it's overcompensation for that shame, and then it's acceptance and coming to terms with your sexuality. Now, the shame occurs because when, as a child, you realize that you're different to your family, you don't say, oh, how wonderful, I'm different. You become ashamed of it, and you say, oh, I have to hide this. And also because society, it's better these days, but when I was a teenager in the 90s, it was better too than, you know, many years ago, like in the 60s or whatever, when it was illegal in this country. There's still a lot of negative information that you get from society. Excuse me. There's still a lot of negative information that comes, that you're kind of given when, just the idea of being gay when you're a teenager is like, oh my god, what is happening to me? My life is over, I'm going to be shunned. That's how I felt. And I'm not speaking for anyone else, this is my experience. Other people may feel, oh, I'm gay, that's okay. I didn't feel that. I went to a very fundamentalist Christian school in South Africa. It was Bophuthatswana at the time. And I knew I was gay at 12, and I didn't have any coping skills for it, and I thought I was going to hell because I was in a very Christian hell and brimstone environment, and I thought, oh my god, it's the end. I was devastated, and I felt ashamed of it, so I kind of separated it, and I hid that side of myself from the world. And this book is really interesting because I identified with it a lot. It's not so much that you take a piece of yourself and you compartmentalize it and you put it away. What that does, it sets a precedent, and you start to do that with other things. So I was intuitive and psychic at the same time, and that wasn't socially acceptable either, so I put that away too. And what you end up with when you do that to yourself is you end up as this fragmented person because you only show certain sides of yourself to the world that you think are going to be acceptable to people. And that really leaves you feeling empty, and it really opens you up to negative things, because you're constantly relying on the approval of other people. We all know how that goes. I mean, sooner or later someone isn't going to like you, isn't going to approve of you, and that causes problems in itself. I'm just checking the traffic here. So I experienced that shame of being gay, and I tried to overcompensate by being successful in the working world and by really going my own way. And a lot of gay people do that. They become highly functioning and they become highly successful, to really prove to themselves that they are worth loving, that they are worth something. Because that feeling of shame, it's very corrosive. And when you're ashamed of something, it makes you feel unlovable. It makes you feel like there's something wrong with you. It tells you that there's something about you that is deep down other people aren't going to like that. So you overcompensate and you say, if I'm loaded, if I'm rich, if I'm super successful, if I'm the head of this company, then I'll be okay, because then it'll mean I'm worth something. And I'm not saying this is everyone's experience, but I think it happens to a lot of people, and that's what I was trying to do. Now, unfortunately, I was never someone who was very financially successful. I tried different jobs. I always wanted to be doing what I wanted to do, what I'm doing now, but I dismissed that because I was ashamed of it on some point. You know, the spiritual closet. I was in the spiritual closet, I was in the gay closet, I just had a whole wardrobe going on. So I wanted to be a writer, which was near to what I originally wanted to do. So I did this journalism thing. That never worked out for me. The finance was just a bit of a mess, really. And then the teaching, I wanted to help people. That was a genuine desire, but that also didn't work out for me because the teaching environment, education environment, I find very repressive, and I didn't like that everyone was just told to conform and that we just want robots. I hated that about teaching, so I got out of that. I liked the kids, but I didn't like the educational system at all. It did my head in. Because I'm someone who's unique, and my whole life struggle has been about accepting myself and the unique parts of who I am. And then I'm going to go into a school and say, conform, conform, conform. Absolutely not. I want to help people to value themselves and accept their uniqueness, because that's what makes you special. The fact, I realize these days that I'm getting preachy again. Sorry, this is why I didn't post the other video. But the things that I was so ashamed of to begin with are what I realize now, the things that make me unique and special. You know, I am a gay astrologer who is against the conventional education system. That's me, and that makes me unique, I guess, or one among a couple of thousands of people. No one's really that special. Okay, so again, yeah, lightening up is a good piece of advice for anybody, including myself. So that's the second step, that you overcompensate. And then the third step is that you realize that you still feel empty even though you have all of this success, and that you need to just accept yourself and you need to work on loving yourself. That's kind of the process. And I really enjoyed reading that book because it reflected my experience. Oh, here we go, here's the traffic now. I hope I make my appointment. Checkup, but I do have something at the back of my teeth I'd like fixed, so, and also I don't like missing appointments, so I'm kind of eager to actually arrive. Okay, it looks okay so far. So yes, I keep getting sidetracked. So yes, I identified with that book a lot because it's been my experience. I've worked on accepting myself, and that's been really the greatest joy to me, to actually come to terms with who I am and not feel ashamed. I came out to my parents when I was 23. I found that very difficult. I'm glad I did it. And it's the coming out process that started kind of, it helped, it's part of the process, I think, to accept yourself. So I guess that part of this vlog is that, you know, these days people get married. I mean, I wasn't born in the Dark Ages, I was born in 1981. But I think in that time, in the 90s, 2000s, I think attitudes really have changed quite significantly, because these days you can get married legally. Well, you couldn't do that when I was a teenager. I think you still get a lot of negative feedback from society about being gay, especially our society is a patriarchal white male society. Okay, I mean, the things that are valued by in our culture is men, and I really believe this, that men should still be men in the traditional sense of you don't cry, you don't show feelings, you provide for your family, you're tough. And that's kind of softened over the years, but fundamentally I think that is still the view of men of what a man should be. So when you realize that you're gay, it's a big shock. It's like, oh my god, I'm not going to fit into this picture of the whole culture. Western culture is that way, and Western culture is one of the better cultures. I mean, if you go to Russia, they absolutely think that being gay is horrendous and appalling, and you should be outlawed and killed. I watched this program yesterday about it. It's really shocking. So for anyone who feels that it's a struggle, who feels that it's difficult, it does get better, it really does. I want to just give you that message that there is hope, and I don't want to over egg this really, because some people don't struggle with it at all. If you do struggle with it, you can come to terms with being gay. It's fine being gay. You can have good relationships. You don't get discriminated against by society all the time, or even that often. I mean, I've had a couple of instances in my life, but it's not like this constant barrage of abuse. It really isn't. If your family doesn't accept it, that's a big challenge, because your family, you want them to love you, to take care of you. But even if that doesn't happen, then you can choose your own family, and you can really be okay, and you can find nurturing and support in other ways. It's possible. The other thing that I just want to touch on there is what I just alluded to a little bit, relationships. I think a lot of people who are gay really also struggle with the fact that, hey, I'm never going to be married to a woman, and I'm never going to, or a man if you're female, and I'm never going to have children. And I think that's a big blow, because a lot of people want to have the kind of nuclear family model, and that can be done too. Again, it's more of a challenge with having children, but I don't necessarily think it's much harder to have. Is that true, what I'm about to say? I was going to say it's not harder to have a gay relationship, a meaningful, lasting relationship with a same-sex partner, and I do think that's true. I think it might be a little bit more difficult, because gay culture is I mean, I'm not going to speak for the whole of gay culture, but just think about this, okay? I just said that I struggle with the process of being ashamed and overcompensating and stuff. So if I'm experiencing that, other gay men are going to be experiencing that. And with that kind of behavior, a lot of other stuff comes in. Ego comes in, kind of being a big shot comes in, all of that stuff. So obviously it's harder to have a meaningful relationship with someone who's overcompensating for stuff because they feel a lack within, because there's a whole facade going on. So that side of things will make it more difficult, but relationships can work. I've been in a long-term relationship. It can happen, it does happen, and don't feel discouraged if you're gay, really don't. It's very, very doable, it's very possible. And adoption is, I mean, it's a little bit more challenging, because rather than just have a child yourself, you have to fill in some forms and be eligible. I mean, there's lots of other things in life that you have to fill in forms for and be eligible, but they're also doable. Mortgages, bank loans, people do that all the time, so it's very, very possible. I mean, I don't think a lot of young people watch my channel anyway, so I think this advice may be going amiss a little bit, but if you do come across this and you think, oh, you know, I wish I wasn't gay, I wish I could fix myself, which is a really, I think, outdated belief these days anyway, then don't. It's okay. It's really okay. So, wow, I've been driving 40 minutes now. I'm going to be at the dentist in 2.5 minutes. I'm going to make the appointment. Hooray. Thank you for joining me on my kind of little drive here. It's been fun just kind of blabbing a little bit. I am going to post this. I don't know if it's going to be, if anyone's even going to watch it or not, but you know, this is my experiment at vlogging. This is my trial attempt at car vlogging, and you've got a tour now. Even if you're not interested in the vlog so much, at least you've got to see some of the area of the UK here in the north where I am at the moment. Oh, and wish me luck with the move, wish me luck with the tax thing. Send me positive energy, send me lots of love, send me lots of healing light. I do that, and I really think it makes makes a big difference. So please, I would really welcome your support and assistance in terms of just sending me positive energy. So please do that. I'd really appreciate it. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks for joining me. I doubt very much that anyone watches this to the end, but it's okay. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate anyone and all of you who watch my channel, because having this YouTube channel has changed my life, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without you. So if you've enjoyed this, then please subscribe to the channel. Please watch some of my other videos, and I'll speak to you soon.